What's up guys, Redeems here. Today we're back again. In this video we're going to be playing some Wukong in the jungle. So it's been quite a while since I played Wukong. I haven't played too much Wukong this patch, but I used to play him so much last patch, but he's kind of fallen off a bit this patch, and the reason for that is a lot of the other new champs and items I've just picked up, and especially with ADCs, these ranged champs that can really poke you down. So for example, in this match I'm jungling up against Graves with the new items. It's just been so much harder for Wukong to kill these new champs, and he just isn't as effective anymore. But he's definitely still a strong champion, one of the best utility champs in my opinion, just because he still provides so much with the CC from his ultimate, and his clone also can provide so much value. But yeah, I used to one-trick Wukong pretty much. I played so much Wukong. That was the champ that I played most to get to Grandmasters in the last patch. I played mostly Wukong Vi. Those were my two go-to champs. But to start off this match, I'm starting off with a normal clear. I'm going to work red to blue side. And again, as I said, we're jungling up against the Graves in this match. So we'll see how that goes. But now I'm looking at which lane I want to play towards. And I choose to play towards our top lane just because look at our top duo. Our top duo has very good positioning advantage. And if a fight breaks out at the scuttle or something like that, they're going to be the ones to rotate first. Just look at how good their positioning is. Whereas the bot side, it looks kind of even, so I decided to just play for top side instead. But another thing to notice, and this is really key to notice, is that our mid lane is getting kind of destroyed right now. They don't have priority at all. They're relatively low compared to the Orianna. So that's really impactful because the mid lane is a lane that can rotate to both scuttles. They can rotate anywhere on the map, which makes their positioning, their priority really huge. And over here now I see Graves is on this side of the map. And I want to see if y'all can figure out the mistake I did here. This is a big mistake that I'm doing. And if y'all can guess it, that'd be very good. But it's taking the blue buff. And we'll see why in a second over here. By taking the blue buff, I pretty much stalled my rotation by a few seconds. And I wasn't able to even contest the scuttle. So really what I should have done in that scenario was just skip the blue buff and gone straight for scuttle. But now I'm looking at this. The Grave goes for the flash, tries to smite him to make him take an extra turret shot or something. Over here now I see he's super low, but I make another mistake here, and it's failing to consider the shielding from Orianna. And that's really key when ganking, trying to know what abilities and stuff the enemy has. So for example, shielding is huge. Shielding and heal and crowd control, those are some of the most important things to consider from champs. And of course, Orianna has a really good shield. So that's going to make it so much harder to burst down Graves, so I probably shouldn't have even gone for that. But what I should have done instead at that first part was skip the blue buff and gone for the scuttle and make a path towards the top side. So if you didn't know, actually, the scuttle, it runs away from you. So if you're approaching the scuttle from one direction, it's going to go to the exact opposite direction, meaning that you can almost control where the scuttle goes. So what I could have done is I could have made the scuttle go towards our top lane duo. That way it wouldn't have been as easy for the mid lane to rotate. If the enemy mid wanted to rotate to contest, since scuttle would be on top side of the map. So now what do I know right now? Graves just cleared his entire red side. He went to that top scuttle, and now I know he's on his blue side because he took that bot side scuttle too now, and now only his blue side is up, meaning he's definitely farming up the entire side. But now what I know he's doing, he's probably finished clearing that up, and now I know his red buff respawned. How do I know that? My red buff also respawned, and our red buffs are on the same timer because we both started at the red buff. So I know he's probably resetting about now, going to his red buff, and he's going to be on the top side of the map most likely. So what do I want to do with that? Instead, I just choose to go for this dive in the bot side. I really want to force this down here because I know Graves is on the other side of the map, just because he's probably clearing his red side about now. So now I'm looking for this Teemo. I want to try and go onto this. I don't know what our auction is doing. They're AFK, so I start to leave, then they start to move again, so I come back. And now I'm waiting for them to engage. It's really key for me not to start the engage here, because if I start the engage over here, then they're just going to run away and I won't be able to get anything. So notice what I do here. I wait for them to bait the engage and then I go in halfway through it. And we were able to pick up the first blood, which is good. And this is a hard match to jungle in, and the reason for that is they got both scuttles, so I really can't play the river at all because they'll know where I am at all times on the river. So here now I see they're doing the dragon. It was a choice I made to go for this dive on the bot side, but now we get this bot side turret here. It'd be a huge mistake to try and leave and contest that drag. And the reason for that is I just wouldn't get there in time. And so instead, going for this top turret, it's going to be worth 1,000 gold. Another very good tip on Wukong is if you're taking a turret, you can't use your third ability on turrets. So instead, what you could do is you can use your third ability on a minion, since if you didn't know, when you use your third ability, you gain a bunch of attack speed for a while. So using your third ability on a minion you're going to be able to gain that extra attack speed to take that turret even faster. So here now, I see the entire enemy team is rotating down. There's some like, we should just back up. But I'm going to talk about the build that I'm going in this match. So actually, I'll mention the runes first. I'm going to go Conqueror into Brutal and then into Conditioning and Mastermind. So all those runes are pretty standard. For the third rune, you can go Conditioning or Hunter Titan. If they have a lot of CC, a lot of stuns, roots, etc., go for Hunter Titan. But if they don't have too much, then Conditioning works very well. So now I'm looking at this top side over here, and the reason why I'm going for this is because I see both of my teammates have their ultimates up. So I see the Ashe lands their ultimate. The Alistar kind of screws up their engage part, so we didn't get the follow-up CC, which is a bit unfortunate. But a quick way to see if your teammates have ultimate or not is look at the top next to the minimap, the champs right over there. As you can see, the health bars underneath them. If you see the green circle right above the champ pictures, that means they have their ultimate up. So that can be really impactful when deciding which lanes to gank. So for example, if you have a Camille on your team and you see they have an ultimate, that's a very good gank because Camille ult is very good for setting up ganks. But over here now, I'm heading towards the Herald. I see they're setting up around it. But I actually want to briefly talk about that dragon trade-off I did. I traded the dragon for the kill on the bot side and the turret. And in my opinion, that's worth it because I don't know if we even would have won that dragon fight. That would have been hard on our part just because Graves is super strong. They all seem like they had the advantage early on. But as the match scales on, I think we will start to scale better. So I think going for the play on the other side of the map, getting the kill plus the turret, that's going to give our team a lot of gold because that first turret is worth 1,000 gold. Plus we got all the gold from the plates. So plus we got the kill too. So that really was a fine trade for us. But over here now, I see the Alistar rotated, which is good. So now I'm starting up this Herald, and we have the 4v3 right now. I decided to just stay on the Herald because I don't want to give it up. I don't want to reset it. So stay on the Herald. Let's see. I get the secure, and now I turn right onto this Orion. So I'm trying to get this Orion here. They're one shot. We're able to get him. But notice what's happening over here. And I actually missed this. And this is really bad on my part. But notice what happened here. Their topside duo rotated. And first of all, I don't know how that root hit me. That hitbox is so messed up for the Lux root. I swear. I swear. Every single time that root, the hitbox is so big for that. But their top lane duo rotated. And we didn't really react quick enough. We didn't really recognize that. So that kind of ended up being kind of bad. But we still got the Herald. So it's a fine trade-off. It wasn't a huge deal. Plus we got kills too. So that's fine. But sorry for not uploading like the past week. I literally, if you didn't know, I just moved into university and I had my first week of classes and everything. And it's kind of a big transition. So been super busy trying to figure things out, scheduling, time management and everything. So that's why I have not uploaded in the past week. I've just been super busy, been meeting a lot of new people. It's been a lot of fun, honestly, but I'm definitely going to try and get to it more consistently. So every now I'm trying to get this Oriana, and I really just wanted to force him back, get some poke damage, since I really wanted to get this mid turret with this Herald. I know one ram from the Herald, and they'll take that turret. So I'm looking, we get the turret, and that's good, because that's really going to open up the map. That's huge for somebody like an Asol on your team, because Asol is a roam-heavy champ. They like to catch people out when they're rotating, stuff like that. So with an Asol, opening up the map is huge, just because they're so good at rotating and everything. But now I'm starting up this drag. Somebody just respawned on their team. Somebody was down and they just respawned. But I'm looking for the secure on this. I get the secure, and notice what happens over here. Look at how fast I like get bursted down. I really can't do anything in that case. And that's really the weakness of Wukong at this point in this patch. These other champs, they could just poke you down so much and burst you down so quickly. And it just makes it hard to play Wukong this patch. He's still definitely a good choice, but I want to actually talk about how this match is going. And this is, I like to kind of call some matches a jungler's game, where the jungler has full control and they're getting fed and they can have so much impact. Well, this is not a jungler's game. Neither junglers on both teams are the ones that are getting fed. It's the laners that are getting fed, and the laners that are the ones getting the kills and that are going to be able to carry the matches. And that's one thing that I like about Wukong, is in matches where it's not a jungler's game, where the jungler really doesn't have the largest impact, you still have a pretty good impact, just because you provide so much utility for your team with your CC and your ultimate and your clone, that it just still provides value. Whereas somebody like a Graves, if you're behind, you just don't provide as much to your team. So that's my favorite part about Wukong, honestly, is that even if you are behind, you aren't the one that's getting fed on your team, you still have such a large impact, and you set up for your teammates so nicely. So for now, I see they're pushing this turret. The Orion and the Graves, there's 3 on the other parts of the map, so it's only the Lux up here. I'm sure the Orion is rotating from mid over here. Now we're pushing this wave in. I have my ultimate, so if they do want to look for something here, definitely can. We get really good chain CC there, and the Alistar kind of screws it up. Trying to get the kill. Oh, and that Orion is one shot. That's so unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Over here now, trying to force this a bit. Kind of just need a dip. We don't even have the auction here, so as you can see, I'm just taking this red buff, and I'm like, we should just dip after this. Because they're going to have all 5 people here soon. We're only going to have 4. And over here, I'm like, yeah, we should just back up. Setting up good warding on your way out is a good thing to do. Get some deep vision. And yeah, I'm like, we shouldn't do this. We need to wait for our teammates to get back. So my teammates want to engage. I'm like, we should wait for the ASOL to get here at least. They start up the engage. I just dive in just because they are too. We're able to pick up 1 kill, but I'm not able to get out of that, sadly. That's unfortunate, but... Oh, the build. I did not talk about the build. This match, I want Triforce into Guardian Angel, Sterix, and then just tank. And the reason for that is you can either go Trinity Force or Black Cleaver first item. If there's anybody that builds armor, any tanks on the enemy team, I'll build Black Cleaver. So if there's somebody like a Garen or an Alistar or something, just somebody tanky, then Black Cleaver's the move. But in this case, they're all relatively squishy. They won't be building much armor. So I was like, I could just go for Trinity Force, get the extra damage that it gives. And then for the enchantment, I'm just going Stoneplate. I think Stoneplate and Stasis or Locket is the move. I think Locket would have been better this match, actually. I don't think I'm getting as much value from Gargoyle anymore. But we're able to pick up this Orianna. Because last patch, if you watch my old videos, I have so many Wukong videos on my channel. I used to get so much value out of Gargoyle and Stoneplate, but you just don't get that as much anymore with all the poke and stuff. So I do think Locket is probably a better choice at this point. So I'm resetting and I'm getting my Guardian Angel, and that's huge. Getting these good shops in before the drag, because I was checking what time the drag is spawning, and it's in 30 seconds. And I see I have enough for my Guardian Angel, which is a huge power spike for a big team fight, which will happen at this dragon. So that's why it's huge to reset and get that pickup. And we're going to say it's going to come in clutch later. But something else that I didn't mention is when going for ganks, one thing that I do check is if the enemy laner is running Ignite or Barrier, especially early on. And that's just huge to consider because, of course, Barrier gives them more sustain. But if they're running Ignite, that really provides almost no value for them if they're going to get ganked. So that's just something to consider when you are going for ganks. I didn't mention that, but I do check the scoreboard a lot for that whenever going for these ganks. But the reason why I thought I'd just upload this match is because you all said you guys wanted to see some matches where I struggle a bit more, where the jungler just doesn't have as much impact. And I think this is a good match for that. Because a lot of matches I do just snowball and completely destroy, but those are boring matches to watch. You can still get good takeaways from... You can get more takeaways, in my opinion, from matches that are a struggle. So over here now, I'm like, we should probably back off here. Just because... we were all super low, but we're able to pick up the kill, and I'm trying to get out of here. If you didn't know, your ultimate on Wukong, when you use it, it gives you a little bit of extra movement speed, so using it for the extra movement speed can be useful. So the Guardian Angel saved me there, which was nice. But I actually want to talk about these engages, and something to really consider when I do go for these engages. And it's whether I have my clone up or not. As you can see, I got so much value from my clone there, and I waited for my clone to come off cooldown. And if you don't notice in a lot of these fights, I almost always wait till I have my clone off cooldown to go in, because it can soak up so much damage for you. If you third ability, first ability in, and then clone, they're going to use so much burst on the clone, and you'll get so much value from it. So that's just something to really, really pay attention to when debating when to engage. Really focus on your clone cooldown, because that will be a complete game changer as to how much damage you can tank up and how much abilities you can make the enemy waste. But now we're getting this Baron over here. We got some really good pickoffs. And see what I'm talking about getting that first tier mid turret. Look at how much it opens up the map. Now they can't just retreat to that first tier mid turret. And it's just huge for certain champs like ASOL. Champs that really want to play super aggressive, that want to really roam the map. It's huge getting those first tier turrets because it really does open up the map for these champs. Now I want to mention a mistake that so many lower tier Wukong players make, and it's lacking target focusing. Focusing the right target on Wukong is huge. If you dive onto a frontline tanky champ and you use your ultimate, you're wasting all of Wukong's potential. If you go into a full health Garen, Alistar, Malphite, it's just a waste. You need to be able to use your third ability to get onto the backline squishies, the ADCs, the mages, and then use your ultimate on those champs to actually mess them up. The Ashe gets a very good stun, and honestly, this Ashe has had pretty good map awareness this entire match. They've really been paying attention with their arrows and where to throw their ultimate, and that's really key if you are going to play an Ashe. I do think Ashe is underrated. I know a lot of people say Ashe is like the worst ADC, but I strongly disagree with that. I don't think he's bad at all. I think with good map awareness and good decision-making and positioning, I think the biggest weakness is, of course, he doesn't have a big dash or anything, but he's still pretty strong in my opinion. You just have to be very on point with the positioning and really focus on what CC the enemy has. But notice how although I never got fed in this match, you can still have so much potential on Wukong by just setting up for your teammates right with your ultimate and providing so much utility. Just trying to get this mid turret. And now I'm like, we could just push to end, honestly. If this Kai'Sa wants to keep on pushing topside, they can. If you know, I like to put down some poke. I should have used Stone Plate earlier. I didn't expect to get bursted down that quickly, but we do go down. It doesn't matter that I really just distracted them to that. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this match. That's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.